This is One-on-One. Hi, I'm Steve Adubato, coming to you from the Tisch WNET studios here at Lincoln Center. It is my pleasure to introduce two terrific guests. Here for the first time, we have Fiona Gardner, who is a photographer of an excellent book called Meet Miss Subways, and also Ellen Hart Sturm, who was a Meet Miss Subways 1959 and the owner of Ellen's Stardust Diner. Good to have both of you.
Thank you.
Let's put this in perspective. There's a new book that's coming out. We don't even have it right now because it's at the printer, right? Mm-hmm. And it's called Meet Miss Subways. Now, this is a book that traces the Miss Subways, which you were in 1959.
Yes, I was.
There was a Miss Subway picked every year?
In the beginning, it was every month.
Every month?
Yeah, and then at some point in the late 40s, early 50s, it went to every 2 months.
In New York?
Yep. And it was on all the trains in New York City. And then towards the end of the contest, there were things like subway strikes in the 70s. So sometimes people got an extra long reign just because their posters weren't coming up and down.
And it was the transit system that ran it?
No, it was the Subway's Advertising Committee and John Robert Powers, which is a famous modeling agency in New York.
By the way, Georgette, our producer in my ear, Georgette, your mother-in-law was a Miss Subway. That's your mother-in-law. She looks beautiful. And that's today. Oh my God, this is great.
She's a beautiful woman.
She's a gorgeous woman. Mm-hmm. So the whole idea of the book is to chronicle Miss Subways then and now. And
Yes.
they all don't look as beautiful as Ellen, right? I mean, I hate to say that, but they don't.
Oh, I really appreciate that, but many of them are very well-kept women.
Come on, I have to do this because I'm going to embarrass you. What the heck is the secret? Yours?
My secret, good living, working out, eating properly, Botox. What can I tell you?
And by the way, tell everyone about your diner, because what's interesting is you were in this very famous landmark here in New York City, your place, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Stardust Diner, right?
Yes.
And you're looking up on the walls. What happens?
Well, I walked into the diner and I saw all these posters of these women, and Ellen had all these reunions over the years and collected many of these posters because the women left it with the diner. And I was just immediately struck by these photographs and these little blurbs about all these different women, about their hopes and dreams and what they wanted to do with their lives. And I just immediately wanted to know what happened to them. And that was really what started this, project and me doing this book.
And so, by the way, these other women, had you really actually kept in touch with them, the other Miss Subways?
Yes, I have over all the years. I owned Ellen's cafe opposite City Hall, and in the 1980s I had my first reunion. It was really exciting.
And I'm wondering how hard it must have been to actually track down, by the way, the years we're talking about, folks, 1941 to 1976. Those are the years. Mm-hmm. There were 41 winners. There are 146 posters. How many did you actually talk to?
Well, I talked to 41 women, but there were actually 200 Miss Subways who won the contest, roughly, from what we know.
Right.
I tracked down more than 41 women. Some of them were people that had kept in touch with Ellen and had been at reunions, so I was able to get their information from Ellen. Then a lot of other people, it was through LexisNexis, which is like a search engine, combing things through like microfiche at the public library, looking at voter registration forms. I even at one point had a detective who found a couple of people that we hadn't been able to find.
You know what's interesting here? People don't know, or a lot of folks watching right now are like, Miss Subway, what was that? Particularly if you're not from the New York City area. What was it like to be selected as a Miss Subway?
It was the most exciting event in my life, and it's constantly being revived, through my Miss Subway reunions. I was 17 years old. I went to Jamaica High School, and I was voted the prettiest girl in high school, and everybody said, thank you so much, and everybody said, I was a local celebrity, everybody said that I should enter the Miss Subway contest, so I sent my picture in, and when it happened, I just couldn't believe it. I thought it was my road to stardom.
Whoa, 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 whoa. That's you. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now I'm seeing, okay, you're 17, you send that in, and they say it's you. What's your reaction?
Yeah.
You have to go in for an interview, though, right?
I had to go in for an interview. this gentleman, what was his name? Elsis. What was his first name? Mark Elsis.
Yes, Mark
Right.
Elsis.
Interviewed me, and as far as I know, he was the older man at the time. He was 36 and I was 17. But anyway, he's still alive somewhere. I don't know. He came to one of my reunions the last time out, and he was actually the person that was instrumental in putting me up in the subways.
So what were they asking you in these interviews?
Oh, my interests. Singing, acting, speech lessons, which didn't work. You still can hear I'm a New Yorker, right?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little
Oh, you're
bit.
from Minnesota.
Yes.
Too cold for me, Minnesota.
Exactly.
New
So they're
York is
asking
doing a
these
good job.
questions, right? I'm sorry for interrupting.
Yeah.
They're asking these questions, and they say it's you, and you become part of this, I was going to say fraternity, this sorority, this very special group of women. And how did it change your life at that point?
Well, it changed my life all the way through because I ended up singing in bungalow colonies in Rockland County. Would you believe that Rockland County had bungalow colonies at
No.
that time? I sang in number 1 Fifth Avenue, the dual pianos there. Later on in the 80s, I sang the national anthem for Ranger and Nick games at Madison Square Garden.
This is great.
And I even sang when the firehouse moved from Manhattan to Brooklyn. And I was up on the podium singing the national anthem. So that was really great.
And all these, and by the way, the restaurant business that you got into, anyway connected, do you think, to Miss Subway? Because you became a public
It's gotten
person.
a lot of fame because of Miss Subway, because when I went into the restaurant business, I started to hang all the Miss Subway posters in there, and I became known as the Subway Girl.
Right.
And we were opposite City Hall at that time. And it was just, it constantly brought the fame back to the restaurants, which was really great. We now have singing waiters, and the Subway
Sure.
posters. And
Let me ask you something. A lot of these women that you spoke to, was being Miss Subway in some ways the highlight of their life?
Well, I think like what Ellen's saying, I think it gave them a big vote of confidence when they were like 19, 20 years old. And to live in a city like New York where there's millions of people and get singled out like that and have your face put on the subway and have a little blurb about your interests that's highlighting who you are as a person, I think is a huge, boost of confidence. And I think people felt like a local celebrity at the time. And that definitely was something that they carried forward in their lives. Many of the former Miss Subways that I interviewed and photographed for the book seemed to talk about that. That was a theme that ran through the book.
Sorry for before I let you out of here.
Yeah.
Georgette, say it again. You had one of the first African-American contest winners, right?
Well, actually, Miss Subways is the first integrated beauty contest in America, which is a pretty important thing, and a lot of people don't actually know that. Thelma Porter Peros, who was the first Black Miss Subways, was in 1948.
There she is right there. What year?
Well, that's
1948?
Marcia
Okay.
Kilpatrick, who's
That's-
later,
okay.
and will actually be coming to the book launch here in New York
Look at this.
at Ellen's. But Thelma Porter won in 1948, same year as Jackie Robinson.
Broke the color line.
And it was 36 years before, Vanessa Williams. So I think that's a pretty interesting thing about the contest.
You'd expect that in New York. Listen, Fiona Gardner and Ellen Hart Sturm, you're involved in a great project, and we thank you very much for coming
thank
in
you very
and sharing
much.
it.
I
Great
hope you'll
job.
come to our reunion.
I wouldn't miss it. And you have to share your secrets with everyone. Leave the
And you
Botox.
too, you're very
leave
handsome.
Thank you, but leave the Botox part out. You could have kept that secret. Okay, thanks. We'll be back right after this. Thank you so much.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating 25 years of broadcast excellence. This special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by Hackensack University Medical Center, Berkeley College, TD Bank, Qualcare Inc., a local managed care company covering 750,000 New Jersey residents, the law firm of Gibbons PC, and by Verizon Communications. Promotional support provided by the Star Ledger and NJ.com, Everything Jersey, and by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association and its monthly magazine, New Jersey Business. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been produced in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System.